Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creation. I feel like I'm all discombobulated here. Okay. Today I am going to do the binding on the traveling quilt. Now, I don't know if you can see it. The binding is right here. I have my pieces cut out. This is the color right here. That is also the back of the quilt. Now, if you've taken your quilt to a long arm and you know nothing about long arms, they do a stitch all the way around the outside of your quilt. So you're going to want to take that stitch off if they haven't taken it off before you do your binding. Now I will go ahead and I will attach these pieces. I will press them in half so that I have them ready, and then I will attach them to, and I do it, I'm trying to think, do I do it front to back or back to front? I do it from the back side because I pull my binding to the front because I want to see the front and where the stitching goes. All right, so let's get started and I'll show it. This will not be a long video, all right? All right, I got the quilt here, and see this little bit right here? This is what I'm talking about. That's the part she went all the way around to hold it down on her machine before she quilted it. So I'm just going to take all of that off first. It's already been trimmed up and everything. Now I'm using matching thread, and this being teak, it really doesn't have a right or a wrong side, so it wouldn't be confusing, but you need to pay attention to your own if you have a right side and a, excuse me, a right side and a wrong side. And I mark it and I put pins, and I'm doing a 2.5 inch length. I don't feel like it needs it any shorter or longer. This is just our regular cotton fabric. Let's take a look at it before I do any cutting. I take a look. All right, so you can see the line where I've sewn it right there. You take it to test it and do this, because this is what you're wanting to see. You want to make sure that it's going smooth. This would be the right side of your fabric, both of these. So when you lay this down, if you do not have petite and you're using something that's the right side and the wrong side, you want to make sure that you put the two right sides together when you lay them down over each other. And I have it just a little bit, and I mean a little bit, over on the edge. And this one I went ahead and got it, matched it up the best I could, and then I marked it, pinned it, and I sewed it. Now I'll take this edge off right here, and I take it a 1/4 inch, and then I'll go over there and I'll iron this. Now if you want to make this fancy across here, which you can do if you want to get extra special, is that when you take this and iron it, then you're going to, you can do a zigzag across this, you can do a fancy little stitch of some sort off of your machine that just puts a little bit of bling on your quilt binding when you do it. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna iron mine over. I am not going to split this open. Now if you want to do some kind of bling and do a little extra stitch, then go ahead and split that open, but I won't. I'll just take it and iron it to one side, and that's it. Now all I do is just put all my strips together, and then I'll be ready to put it onto the quilt itself. Alrighty, let's take the confusion out of working on the next piece that you have to add to it. So here's the right side of the fabric. Take your next piece, keep the right side facing upward, and then you're going to do the same thing you did the last time, so that when you flip this over, you'll be correct. All right, don't mistakenly put it the other direction, okay? You want to make sure this is, the right side is up, the right side is down, and then we'll sew this, and we'll just continue until we have all our strips added. Okay, so I'm not attaching my binding on at all. All I'm doing is taking my time and just sewing it on, just straight sewing it until I get to the corners, and then going around it. I have it sitting. Okay, so I'm going to try and film this, and hopefully this is not in the way. I might just have to lay that down. All right, so I got as close as I could, I think. If I get too close, then you're gonna miss some of it. So I'll go ahead and I'll just lock this corner. And then I'll just slowly, I'm just about a foot or so. And I'll try to keep this up on the table so it doesn't pull. And I'm trying to keep my foot right here on the right hand side of the fabric. And even though this is not that very big of a piece, now that it's got that batting on it, it is a bit heavy. So it's not going to be a lightweight quilt. And of course it wants to come off the table because that's how everything works. And just go all the way around it. When I get down here to the end, I'll come back and I'll show you how I do my ends. Of course, I've done that on a regular video before, but just so you know. I'm not quite sure why this machine's making such crazy noise. It's been cleaned, so I don't know what's going on. All right, let me stop it there. Alrighty, so I've reached the end, and what I did was I came to 1/4 of an inch, and then I came off of my fabric, and I cut the thread. So I take my fabric, and I go back so that it all lines up all the way across the bottom here. Then I hold my hand on it, and go that to the left, back to the left, and then I put it across so it matches up at the bottom here. And if you want to put a pin on it, that's fine, but here's the flap right here. And then I usually take my fingernail and then I go along there, because what I want to do is I'm going to want to put my needle in. Let me turn my fabric here. So now that it's down here, it looks like that. And if you feel safer putting a pin or a clip down here, and I'll go ahead and I'll start. And I'll do it real slow and easy and lock it into place, and then continue coming down here just like that, and then I'll continue on, and the corner will look just like that. You can see that corner. I'll get it down here a little bit more, then I'll show it to you. When I get down here to the end, I'm going to show you that corner. Alrighty, I told you that I would show you what the corner looks like. So hopefully that's light enough that you can see that corner. Because when you fold that corner over, you're going to get this right here, so that you'll have a really nice mitered corner. I know it's hard to see, but let's go ahead and finish it up. Alright, so when you've sewed it, this is what you have. You have 2 pieces sitting over. What you want to do is you want to have your binding 2.5 inches. My actual binding is 2.5 inches. That's what this measures right here. That's 2.5, the width. All right, so we're going to sew this. I'm going to cut it off right here for starters. And now what you want to do is you want this piece here to go over, and I go up a little bit so I can see it, right here. And you want to measure 2.5. So take your measuring tool that you got and lay it down. And you go 2.5 inches, and then you will cut it right here. Okay, so that you've got 2.5 inches. So take it and cut it. So that's how much it's overlapped. Alrighty, remember how we did it before? So the first thing I did was I took off a few stitches on both ends to make this wider part. Now remember, this is the good side here, okay? We're going to put good side to good side. Alright, here it is marked right there. So now I'm going to sew it. Alright, let me tell you what I did wrong. First off, the fabric needs to be, the bulk of the fabric needs to be at you, and you need to be working with it away from you. I had the opposite direction, literally the opposite. So it didn't work, so I took it all out. And here's what you do. You take this side here, you lay it down like that. You take the good side on the right side and lay it down across it. And that's away from you, okay? You take this, you face it so the good side is up. You take it like that, turn it so that the good side is downward, and then mark it and sew it. Just like that. And then test it by doing this before you do any cutting. And it'll go on there. And see, it's not going to be too small when it goes across there. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to cut this little flap off. And since my scissor cutting is crummy today, I'm going to use the rotary cutter. All right, now we're going to iron that on. Iron it, shucks. We're going to sew it. I just ironed it. So I'm just going back over the other fabric. I'm going to be running out of thread here. I might have to treat another bobbin. Do is I iron this binding before I actually do anything. A lot of people glue it. I haven't done the gluing aspect of it yet, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to iron it down. I'll iron it flat and then I'll flip it over. So first I'm going to iron it flat like that, just like that, so that it'll look like this, and then I will take it and I will tuck it over. Okay, here it is, all binded. So the binding is exactly like the back. Let me show you the back of it. There's the back. This is the traveling quilt for those that are just now tuning in. And then here, the binding matches the back fabric. She gave me the back fabric. And so there you go. It looks really, really nice. And thank you everybody for watching, and I will show you the next one. I probably won't I don't think I'm going to quilt it online, but I will show you what it looks like. If you want me to show connecting the end of it, go ahead and say it and I can put that on the next video. Do a close-up of that. All right, give me a thumbs up, a like, make a comment, and I'll see you in the next video about the traveling quilt.